Hi, my name is Nikki and I make tarot content. Thanks for clicking on my channel. Today we're learning about the Major Arcana. FYI, this video is part of a series here on my channel called Tarot School. If you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description box. Let's get started. You're going to need something to write with, a notebook, and if you have cards to refer to, pull the cards out. If not, no worries. I'll have pictures on the screen. So as a quick review, the tarot deck is split into three major parts. We have the Major Arcana, which is our focus today, the Minor Arcana, and the Court cards. So I like to look at it as the Major Arcana is the map of life, and the Minor Arcana are the energies that help you navigate through that map. The Court cards are the people that are also helping and supporting you. Here are all the Major Arcana. There are 22 cards, and I divided them into three groups of 7 with one left over. The leftover is the Fool. This card is marked 0. There is no direct place for the Fool because the Fool isn't supposed to stay in one place. He or she is supposed to go through life and experience everything. Remember the map of life that I showed you earlier. So I'm going to place that here for now, and we'll get to the Fool a little bit later. Interestingly, these three groups of 7 relate very well to the id, ego, and superego from psychology. And if you don't remember them, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you a really quick overview. So for me, row 1, these cards would represent the id, and the id is about me. You know, so it's basically about you and your immediate circle. That is your focus. And sometimes it's okay to just focus on you and your immediate circle, but other times you have to focus on the larger aspects of life. That's where we get into the super ego in row 3, the moral compass to do right or face the consequences. And look at that. Look how beautiful the star, the moon, the sun is, the judgment, the world. Look how beautiful those celestial bodies are. But then we also have the consequences when you don't do right. Here in the middle, we have the ego. So the ego is right in the middle of wanting to be selfish, but then wanting to do right. And when you find yourself with a lot of middle row cards, there is a pull. There is a pull. Look, right in the middle, we have the Justice. Let me show you here just because it's easier to see. Now look at that. Smack dab in the middle, we have the Justice card, but the entire second row talks about balance and accountability. We're going to go through each card individually. I just wanted to give you an overview up front. Let's start with the Fool. Now, despite the name being the Fool, this is a really good card. It represents you, the person asking the question. This card gives you permission to be yourself, but also to be spontaneous and try something new. One of the descriptors I have in my book for the Fool is to just get started and see what happens. And the song association is Don't Kill My Vibe by Kendrick Lamar. Now, in reverse, you're allowing someone to kill your vibe. You're afraid to get started. You're timid. There could be some damage, perhaps from several failed attempts. So now you're too damaged to try, or you're afraid to try something new or to be spontaneous. Song association for the Fool in reverse is Damaged by Her and Be Careful by Cardi B. So the first 7 cards feel very loving, very protective, very much like home. It feels safe. These cards are all about protecting yourself, protecting your energy, protecting your immediate surroundings, putting yourself first always, or being around people who will put you first, who will protect you, who will protect your energy. That's what we have with the first 7. So as you being represented by the Fool, going through the journey, making the pit stops through each of the major arcana, when you get to the Magician tells you that you have everything it takes to get the job done and that you really don't have to depend on anyone. You actually are doing better than you think you are, and perhaps you need to give yourself some more credit. In reverse, though, you are not the problem fixer, my friend. You are the problem starter. The Magician in reverse is mixed signals, poor communication, and you're not living up to your full potential. Let me move the Fool out of the way. I'm going to put the Fool up here just so it's out of my way. But yes, the magician upright, at the very least, you're going to fake it till you make it. Totally confident that you could get the job done. In reverse, though, not so much. Perhaps you're intimidated by someone or something, or maybe you're just not ready. You may need to study more or practice more. Now, these are just pitfalls or life lessons that everybody learns through life. They do not always go in order, and sometimes you may learn several life lessons at one time. And that will be reflected in the cards because you'll get several major arcanas in a spread at one time. The high priestess is next. And as the fool going through the journey, when you get to the high priestess, she's telling you to trust yourself no matter what. She's also letting you know that everything is not clear. There's a whole blanket covering the background. So she's acknowledging, yes, you don't know everything yet, but you know enough to trust your gut. I even like how she's sitting in between the two black and white pillars. These are very basic interpretations, but look at the pillars. They're polar opposites. I look at that as if two people are playing tug of war on opposing sides or opposing teams, and she's right in the middle, comfortable and poised. So even faced with adversity, she's your girl to go to. She's going to trust herself no matter what. In reverse, though, the high priestess is a very scary card because she is not trusting or understanding her own intuition, and instead she's seeking answers outside. This could be outside people, untrustworthy sources like drugs and alcohol. Could also be too much social media, TV, things like that. So in reverse, we really want to focus on who or what we're putting before ourselves. Okay, and then that way we could turn her around. Okay, turn her around. Focus, believe in your own intuition. So the emperor and the empress, this is your mother figure and your father figure. So in general, when the empress comes up, it could represent a good maternal instinct. It could also represent pregnancy, but it could also be talking about a fruitful situation. If you're asking about a job or a friendship or something of the sort, and the empress comes up, this is a good, fruitful outcome. In reverse, this could be a mother that was not very protective, did not make you feel safe. This is definitely mother issues. It could also represent someone who cannot have children, or an unfruitful situation. Do not waste your time pouring into this situation. It will not grow. It will not bear fruit. You see all this fruit, all this vegetation. She even has fruit on her gown. She is glowing and growing. But in reverse, it's quite the opposite. So whatever you're asking it about is not fruitful and it's not going to multiply. So I wouldn't even waste my time. But yeah, another clue to this mother figure is that heart that's there. That's representing Venus, and it's the planet of love. So you could think of this as a loving person. In reverse, though, that heart is broken, and this is not a very loving person or not a very loving, viable situation. All right. As the fool goes along through the journey, we get to the emperor, the father figure, and he is very protective. Do you see that armor on him? Come on. This is like the father who has the shotguns in the back. This is the father you cannot get nothing by. Very loving and charming, yes, but very stern, very wise. His white beard tells me he is very wise. And the fact that he has this circle here, this orb in his hand, that's how I know that he's also very loving and peaceful. This staff over here, though, lets me know he's down to business. He's very strict, but he can also balance that out and be very loving. And then he's also very wise. And the armor that he has on lets me know he does not play, and he is not to be played with. Okay, so this is definitely the father of the group. Also, for the single mother playing the father role, the emperor may come out to represent that person as well. The emperor is a good leader in every aspect. So if this represents your boss, this is a fair, a just but also very stern boss. But you're going to really enjoy working under this person, being led by this person, because this person is a protector. It's in row 1, so this is all about things and people that are going to help you, protect you, and things like that. In reverse, this is one of those really either abusive fathers or absentee fathers. If this was at work, though, this would be a tyrant for a boss, a bully, someone in abuse of power. So if I was doing a reading and I was asking about a job, a potential job, and I got the Emperor in reverse, no, heck no. Pack it up. I'm putting my resume in elsewhere. As we move on to the Hierophant, this is the clubs that you want to get into, the organizations that you want to be accepted in, the fraternities that you want to be a part of. That's the Hierophant, the churches, whatever organization that suits you and you want to be a part of, that is what's represented by the Hierophant, being accepted. It could even represent higher learning. So maybe you or the person that you're asking about wants to go to school. This will confirm, yes, that's a really good decision. It could also represent for me sometimes court, marriage, and like legal contracts binding. In reverse, this can show breaking of a contract, breaking of a marriage, divorce, but it could also show thinking for yourself. Sometimes the Hierophant for me could represent following the crowd, just depending on what other cards fall out with it. But in reverse, you're definitely not following the crowd. And I love that for you. The Lovers card, I love the Lover's card. The Lover's card could definitely represent two people falling in love, right? It could also represent a union with yourself. So your feminine side and your masculine side coming together, you understanding yourself more. Okay, so yes, it definitely means you and your partner are, locked in, but it could also mean you're being locked in with yourself or with your higher self. In reverse, there's a disconnect between you and your partner. So not saying that there's going to be a breakup, but there's just a disconnect in what you want for the future. It could also be a disconnect with yourself. You told yourself you was going to start eating clean and meditating and working out, and you have done none of it. So there's a disconnect between what you said you were going to do for yourself and what you're actually doing for yourself. That is the message of the Lovers. The Chariot, I actually recently started to really love the Chariot and what it represents. For me, the Chariot is about discernment and knowing the difference between right and wrong every time, and doing what's right over what's wrong, even though what's wrong looks, feels, and tastes just like what's right. But you having the discernment to know what's right and doing what's right. That takes willpower. Okay, that takes willpower and that takes discernment. So I'm really starting to learn and understand that in the Chariot now, and I love that. That's becoming like one of my favorite cards. In reverse, oh my gosh, you are going left when you should have went right. You're zagging when you should have zigged. Everything is just going wrong. You're going in the wrong direction. You're not using your intuition. You're definitely not using that discernment that you had in the upright. If this card comes in the reverse, you're not using your discernment at all. You're making a lot of poor decisions, and this is a warning. You might want to pull some extra cards to see how you could help clean that energy up, because the Chariot in reverse definitely serves as a warning. You are going in the wrong direction. That is the first row. We're focused on ourselves and our immediate circle. Let's look at now row 2. So we're moving from ourself and our immediate family, right? Our immediate inner circle, and we're expanding that now. So here is the second row. And we're starting with the Strength card. So the woman dressed in white on the Strength card is supposed to represent you or the person that's asking the question, right? That lion that she's holding on to is her inner beast. So male or female, doesn't matter. That lion represents the inner beast, and this woman is controlling the inner beast. She's influencing that beast. So the strength card is about having that inner strength to control and influence yourself and those that are around you. In reverse, there is no inner strength. This person is easily influenced by anyone or anything. The strength card in reverse also represents someone being weak, weak-minded, weak-willed, unable to think for themselves or act for themselves. Someone could be controlling or manipulating the person in question. So the strength card in reverse is a really good starter card. I definitely pull more cards just to get more information. As we get to the Hermit, this is telling you to pull back. You are integrating with other people and their energy may be too much for you. It's time for you to pull back. Put on your little bathrobe, get like a little mani and pedi, to watch the game, whatever it is that brings you down and calms your mind. Maybe do a little meditation. That's what the Hermit is telling you to do. In reverse, you could be doing that way too much. You're spending way too much time alone. It's time for you to go back out into the world. People miss you. The Hermit in reverse, people miss you. It's time for you to like get back out there, okay? As we move to the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune for me is a stop sign. It looks like a stop sign. It just tells me to pause. It's card number 10. We're halfway through the Major Arcana and it's just telling you, okay, let's pause and let's see how well you've done so far. Okay, so this is a checkpoint or a report card. If it comes up right, then the energies that preceded this card were all favorable and things are going to start to change in your favor. So, I love that. If it comes in reverse, then the things or energies that preceded this card were not favorable. And now energies are going to shift or change in a negative way for you. So that's kind of like how I read the Wheel of Fortune. But the wheel is constantly moving, constantly turning. So you may have a bad day today, and then tomorrow it can turn around. With the Justice card, we're not just with our parents and our organization or people that love us. We're not just with our inner circle. We're now expanding that, and we have to be accountable for how we act and treat other people. Of course, we have to be accountable for how we treat our family and things like that too. But as we expand outside of that, people think differently from us, people reason differently from us, and we have to hold ourselves accountable that we don't offend other people, right? In reverse, we're not holding ourselves accountable. We're not being honest with ourselves. So the song that I have for the Justice in reverse is I Can't Breathe by Her. If you play that song, you would definitely get the vibe for the Justice card in reverse. It's a very sad energy and it just feels unfair. It feels like the scales are not balanced. It feels off. This could also represent an area in your life that you are neglecting, okay? The Hangman. This is telling you to pull yourself out of the situation. Pull back. Take a time out. You see that tree looks like a T? That's a quick and easy way to remember what the Hangman means. Just look at that T. Take a time out. Pull yourself out of the situation or look at things from another person's perspective. You're no longer dealing with yourself and your immediate circle. It's not okay to be selfish. At this point, you need to look at things from other people's perspective. In reverse, you're getting in your own way. This is definite self-sabotage. Sometimes I look at this card as someone having their hands tied. So they might be like trapped or unable to respond accordingly. Maybe they're a sitting duck or a target. Just depends on what other cards fall out with it. With the Death card, there's something I find interesting. We have the Hierophant here. We have the Hierophant here, right? And we have the lady from the Strength card here. Have you guys noticed that? I think that's so cool. I also like the representation of ages. So we have a child, we have maybe a young adult, an older man, and maybe a middle-aged man over here. So usually when a death card comes out, it does not mean a literal death. It does not mean that at all. But I like that it does have the ages here, showing that this is a natural progression and it can happen at any age or stage in life. Figuratively, though, this is my caterpillar card. And a lot of times in a reading, it shows that something is ending, but something else, something better is coming, is forming. You're a caterpillar, you go into the cocoon, the caterpillar dies, and now it's a beautiful butterfly. That's the energy that I usually get from the death card. But in the reverse, it shows stagnation. Maybe you are afraid of change. You won't let go of things and you're not allowing the natural progression of things to just unfold and evolve. Maybe it's a relationship that you need to let go of and you're just clinging on to it, not allowing it to end so that whatever else on the other side can come, can come. With the Temperance card, she literally has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. The water represents the spiritual nature. That's going to represent the 3rd row once we get to it. And the land represents the physical nature. That's more so of the realm above. So she's in the middle trying to balance the both of them. Can you imagine how hard that is? That's going to take temperance, hence the name. That's going to take balance. That's going to take moderation. So you can't live too much in the physical and you can't live too much in the spiritual. There has to be some sort of balance. Now, if we were talking about everyday life, we could look at the physical and the spiritual side as 2 opposing options or opinions, and they're basically at war. Well, the Temperance is bringing those 2 sides together, is finding out a way to make peace with 2 opposing sides. So if this card comes up, it might be asking you to add peace to a certain situation, maybe even make up with someone. In reverse, this is definitely a messy situation. This to me feels like the song Entanglements by August Alsina and Rick Ross. Definite. This is gossip. This is mixy. It could also be someone fumbling an opportunity or making excuses. In reverse, I see this as something not compatible. So a relationship or situation, maybe even like forcing things to work, trying to make a puzzle fit when it shouldn't. That's what I get from the Temperance in reverse. We made it to row 3, you guys. We made it to row 3. So here the focus has expanded. We are not just focused on ourselves and our immediate circle anymore. We're not just focused on the earthly realm. We have literally expanded outside of that. Now, with that being said, row 3 does talk about consequences. So we learned a little bit about that with the Justice card. This is more of like an earthly justice, the court system, for example. Whereas down here we have Judgment, and this is more of a spiritual judgment. Something that's going to clear or release some of your karma, maybe something that you came to this life to do in the first place. All right, so starting with the Devil over here, you've already made it so far. You just have a few more pit stops to go, so to speak, right? That's where the Devil comes in to throw you off your path, confuse you, manipulate you. This is often done through other people. It could also be done through drugs, alcohol, bad habits, too much TV, too much social media, things like that. In reverse, you're learning to break free from that. You're not allowing the chains or the negative vices to keep you shackled or tied down. You're literally breaking free and you're learning to overcome, which is great. I call this card the Purge. This is like, okay, so let's think in terms of your body. You've ingested so much bad food, right? So now you feel sick, you feel terrible. You're going to purge it. You're going to get rid of it, either through the top or the bottom. It's coming out through your mouth or the other way, but it's coming out. Your body's just going to purge it, get rid of it so you can start over, start healthy, right? So the Tower is essentially the same thing, but for your life. Okay, so think of the Tower as food poisoning, for your life. So like energy poisoning. So you've ingested so much negative energy, so much negative thoughts or habits or friends, things like that. So the universe is just going to purge it, so to speak, start all over, and that way things will be better. That's where we get into literally the next card, the star card, things healing, things getting better. In reverse, I like to look at this as dodging a bullet. This is averting a disaster. Maybe if you would have ate that last French fry, you would have got sick and there could have been a disaster. Or if you would have went to the club or that party last night, something bad could have happened, but you didn't. You stayed home and you were protected. So the Tower card is very scary. It's a very scary card, but in reverse, you were protected from some sort of danger or scary catastrophic event. Now with the Star card, whatever was ruined or damaged with the Devil and whatever was purged with the Tower is being healed and restored. So the Star card is like a fan favorite when it comes to the tarot. Not so much in reverse, though. Not so much in reverse. This card is like broken glass to me, something that is beyond repair. It also could represent someone who doesn't accept help. You know how certain people just want to do everything alone? They do not want help. That is a star card in reverse for me. It's like the people that burn their candle at both ends, so to speak, you know, so they're at major risk for burnout and exhaustion. This is feeling like there is a severe loss of hope and even maybe a disconnection from your higher self and or the divine. So this is another card where you definitely want to pull some clarification just to see what's putting you in this particular energy and how you can help yourself to come out of it. Now, the Moon card is so easy, but also so hard because it means so many things. Surface level, it's the moon. So it's dark, it's scary, things are not clear, there is a distorted energy or vibe. So if someone that you know comes up as the moon, that person could be shady. But on another note, the moon also represents dreams. It could be a connection to your psychic self, your psychic powers, and or a past life, because the moon represents cycles, lifetimes and lifetimes of cycles. So depending on the reading, it could be telling you about your past life. As a warning, it could be telling you to pay attention to what's not being said. You get my drift? So you could have a whole conversation with someone and it's about what's not being said or what's trying to be hidden. That's what you need to pay attention to. In reverse, that thing that was covered up in the dark, in the moonlight, that thing that you couldn't see or understand clearly is going to be made clear. There's going to be something that was a secret that would be brought to light. Now that could either help you or hurt you, just depending on what side of the secret you're on. It is definitely coming to the light with the moon, okay? This could also represent, like I said before, cycles of behavior, but maybe negative cycles or negative patterns of behavior. It could also represent a past life connection or negative karma associated to a past life connection, just depending on the question that I ask and other cards that fall out with it. The sun, the sun, the sun. This is one of the happiest cards in the deck. Everything is vibrant. Everything is growing. Think of summertime, okay? Think of like your best childhood summertime memory. That's what I get from the sun. The sun card is about freeing your inner child, living in the moment, and knowing that whatever you're asking about, there will be a positive outcome. The sun brings the advice of not dimming your light, shining your light, being your true, authentic self, and telling you to steal the spotlight. Your spirit guides, your ancestors, they're bringing people into your life that's going to push, motivate you, and get you to where you need to be. Like you're right at the end. You're almost to the next checkpoint. And the sun card is like that boost of energy that's going to get you there. That's going to help you finish the journey. So when I see the sun card, I think of it as a boost of energy. Like when you were a child, you could play and play and play for days. It's like, where the heck did this energy come from, right? It's just never ending. So that's how I look at the sun, that boost of energy that you need to get through the hump. And it just feels really, really good. In reverse, I don't use this to diagnose at all, but just an idea of what the card feels like. It feels like if you were bipolar. So 1 minute you could feel really good and high energy, and the next minute you could feel down, like all your energy has been sucked through a vacuum. Also with this red flag here, I'm definitely getting red flag. If this was a relationship reading and I got the sun in reverse, run, 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 run. That's definitely a red flag for me. All right, so moving on, we're almost done. Just like the Wheel of Fortune was a checkpoint or like a stop sign, the same thing with the Judgment. And you see how they both have like a little cross? So that's a quick, easy way for you to remember. This is Roman numeral X. So this is number 10. This is Roman numeral XX. This is number 20. So that's another way for you to remember it. When you get to the Judgment card, this is good news, okay? Especially when it's in the upright. This could represent the reset button or forgiveness, getting a second chance. So at the Wheel of Fortune, whatever happened, happened, and here comes your karma, good or bad. With the Judgment card, though, you're being forgiven. Look at that. Something that was dead in the coffin being risen, given another chance. This is a rebirth. This could also represent reincarnation. I also see this as being chosen in a crowd, the chosen one, having favor, being someone's favorite. I get that vibe with the Judgment. But in reverse, this could be people talking behind your back or even being lied to or lied on. Okay, lied to or lied on by others. But again, with that stop sign, it's telling you that you may need to look back and reflect on your actions. How did we get to this point? We're almost to the last card. Don't mess up now. This could be a warning telling you that you're being unfavorably judged, perhaps for things that you're doing. Even though the universe has tried to help you, has tried to stop you, and you're continuing on that pattern, Judgment in reverse, you could be being judged negatively. So this could definitely be a warning telling you to pay attention to what you're doing. Moving on to the world, the world, the world. The world represents the finish line. You have completed a cycle. Look at that. It looks like if someone was running a race and they ran through the ribbon and they kind of got tangled up in the ribbon. In terms of everyday life, this could be like graduation, receiving a promotion in a job, getting married, something like that, something to where you've completed one area of your life and you're moving into another area of your life. The thing though with the world is that this is a circle, and so it's never ending. So as you complete one finish line, there's literally another finish line. So the world card is telling you, take the time, celebrate your win, and literally buckle up and prepare for the next one. In reverse, this is unfinished business. You have not finished what you started. In a relationship, this is someone wanting to come back. You know what song I think of with the world in reverse? Next Lifetime by Erykah Badu. There were things that were unfinished, things she couldn't get to, and so she promised, you know, I'll get to them next lifetime. So that, to me, that song sums up the world in reverse. Lack of closure, something left undone, something left unsaid, an unresolved issue. It could also represent fear of success. Sometimes we don't take that next step because we're literally afraid of what comes on the other side. Globally, I also see the world in reverse as some sort of pandemic or epidemic. So for example, COVID. I would definitely get that vibe from the world card in reverse. I tried to be as concise as possible in this video so it wouldn't be too long and still get through all 22 cards. But if there's anything that you feel like I left out or you want to add, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Also, check out my book. You can find it on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much. Bye.